I'm live again. Good morning, goddesses. Good morning, goddess temple. Start to another great week of empowered life sessions. I'm just going to wait a sec, see if some women join. And if you're here, hey T, if you're here, give a little shout out so I know that you're watching. Wow, what a great Monday so far. So I'm just gonna get comfortable in my seat, and hey Anna, and I invite you to do the same, and just to get grounded, to come back to ourselves. Morning Rach, come back to the present moment. So just inviting you to get comfy wherever you're sitting, and to close your eyes and put a hand on your heart and a hand on your stomach if that feels comfortable to do so. And just softening into the space, feeling your feet on the ground, planting those roots for the day ahead, for the week ahead. And just inviting you to take a really big, nourishing breath in with everything you've got, filling up your lungs, filling up your cells, and letting it all go. And when you breathe out, just letting go of yesterday, letting go of anything that's already been, or worrying about what will be, just letting everything go so we can take another breath in and just anchor into this moment. So taking another gorgeous breath in and releasing. Making space, making room for new thoughts, for being here right now, and letting go of anything else. And with your hand on your heart and a hand on your belly, just inviting you to rub your belly and to just let it out. We don't have anyone to impress. We don't need to suck our belly in. Just rubbing it and giving it love for everything it is, and feeling that heartbeat. And just as we feel our heartbeat and we're breathing in, just reminding ourselves that it's really amazing to be here right now and to be alive. And often we take that for granted when we wake up in the morning. And we're in a rush and we pick up our phones and we check Instagram, or we're thinking about what we've got to do. So just honour this moment. You've got nowhere else to be but here with you. And in this moment, just honouring our bodies for anchoring us, for being our home, for everything that it does for us, for waking us up this morning, for loving us even when we don't know how to show it love, for just always being there for us. So I invite you to just whisper, or in your head say to your body, I love you, thank you. And just acknowledging how nice that feels. That we're on the same team. And reminding yourself and your body that whatever happens today, it's with you. And it's not going to let you down. And taking another nourishing breath in, and after you breathe it in, letting everything go. shaking if you want to shake. Just reminding yourself that you're alive. And that today's a new day and right now is a new moment. And finding gratitude in this stillness. No matter what is going to come, just being grateful for this stillness right now. And opening your eyes and coming back to the space, this delicious space. That felt nourishing. Wow, it's so nice to see everyone watching. Hi Kira, hi Emma, hi Kimberly. So this morning I am talking about a topic that is very close to my heart, and it was just so important for me to come on here and just get real and raw and candid about eating disorders, because so many women, so many people suffer with disordered eating and body image issues and self-worth issues, and we live in a society where we're constantly fed what is to be beautiful and to be perfect and what our bodies are supposed to look like and how we're supposed to be. And it can be really detrimental on our happiness and our self-worth. And this is something that I struggled with for kind of most of my teens and all of my 20s. I'm 29 and I've been on a fucking journey. But it's something that never goes away. And that's why it's really important for me to talk about, because yes, of course, women can find and people can find freedom from eating disorders. And of course, it's possible to have a life totally free. But also, I just want to share my experiences and that I've been on a journey. And even though I'm really at a place where I'm finally very comfortable with who I am, and I do love my body, and a lot of my food triggers aren't there anymore, it is something that never fully goes away, and I'm okay with that. And I wanted to share this to help other women understand that there doesn't have to be this shame or embarrassment or secretiveness about it. And when you struggle with food issues and eating disorders, it is that, it was very much this secret, this dark shadow, this part of my life that I didn't talk about. I would go to a party or a meal and my friends would think I was fine, and then I would go home and I would feel this loneliness, and I would binge or purge or have destructive behaviors, but I never spoke about it. And when we don't talk about it and it becomes this shameful secret, it feeds that, and it feeds the eating disorder, and it feeds that it's something wrong and it's something to be embarrassed about and it's something that we need to hide. And it doesn't. And part of our journey of self-love and self-acceptance is owning our shadows and those parts that maybe do feel a bit uncomfortable and that are difficult and that we have to live with. But it's all part of that human experience, and it makes me, and it's made me who I am. And so I really just want to honour and to give a shout out to anyone that is struggling with self-worth or body image issues or food struggles, that I feel you and that I understand you. And when we're in this space, it feels like we need to gain control of it, and it can be this fight. And for years, I would never be present because I was so stuck in my mind, because I had to control my food, or I hated my body, so I had to work out to try and make my body look like something that somebody had told me was the ideal of beauty, and that only then, when I looked like that I would be happy, and that my life would be perfect, and that I would find a partner, and I would get my dream job, and I would have this most perfect life. But really, ladies, what I want to say from my experience and from the ups and downs and being in the trenches and being on a roller coaster and getting myself out of the rabbit hole more times than I probably had hot dinners, that the freedom lies when we do share and we do talk about it, and also when we just acknowledge and we just can see where we're at, then it kind of takes that fight away from it. And that's where the freedom lies, because when we're stuck in this need for control, often in our lives, some areas feel out of control. So when we feel like we can have control over our body or our food or our workout, it makes us feel that we have control over something. But actually, once we let go of that need for control, that's actually when we do gain control. And it sounds like a paradox, and it might be unfathomable when you're so stuck in that need for control and self-discipline. Letting go seems unfathomable and so scary. But it's when we dive into that unknown, then that is where the freedom lies. And so for me, it's so important to speak about this and to speak about my journey and to let other women know that it's safe for them to do that also. Because for years, I didn't talk to anyone about it. I didn't even understand it myself. I was so ashamed and embarrassed and at constant war with my body. I would shoot bullets from my mind to my body all the time. And we don't realize it, but, you know, our body is the first thing that we see when we look in the mirror. It's the closest thing that we can kind of use to beat ourselves up. But our body loves us, and our body has this wisdom, and our body knows. And on my journey, I really, really, really had to come to a place from not understanding my body, from hating my body, from feeling so disconnected to my body, to really having to recultivate that relationship with it and understanding that she has her own wisdom and she really knows what's good for her. And even though it was such a difficult process, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because healing from an eating disorder, you have to really relearn who you are, to kind of rewire our brains and to understand that these core beliefs that we have, these messages that we've been fed, that we've created to core beliefs of what self-worth is and what makes us beautiful and what makes us perfect and what makes our bodies worthy, we can rewrite that because it's not true. And so I really dived in, and who is Georgia Barnett? Who is Georgia Barnett? What inspires her? What makes her feel good? What helps her to connect to her body in a loving way? And I really had to relearn all those things. But in that process, I really came to this understanding of myself. And so that's why I say that my eating disorder was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I really got the opportunity to dive in deep and to understand myself. And once I realized that this conditioning that I had, that, you know, it's very difficult for mothers to not kind of shove their ideas onto their kids. And my mum, listen, she did an amazing job, and she didn't realize the harm that she would be causing when she'd say things to me like, oh, you know, you're so gorgeous, or like, it really suits you when you're a bit thinner, or like, if you just lost 5 pounds, or like, do you really need that bread? Or you know, seeing my sister, who was this ideal of what beauty should have been in my eyes, and I saw the way my mother looked at her, and she had these perfect breasts and this stunning body, and I thought that I needed to look like that to be loved. And that was really kind of a hard process. And not just now, in life, we're always going to be next to beautiful people with different body types. But once we go on that journey with ourselves and we really understand ourselves and love ourselves, then it isn't this fight, and it isn't this comparison, and it isn't this need to be seen as beautiful in other people's eyes. And self-love and self-acceptance isn't necessarily about thinking I'm the most incredible person, my body's the best it can ever be. It's just about really coming to this place of like understanding yourself and just feeling at home in yourself. Bodies change all the time. We are changing beings. Our body is never going to stay the same. life never stays the same. And that's why we kind of have to let go of this need to control the size of our body, or to control our food portions, or to control everything. And this is what feeds the eating disorder. So when we can just let go of that need for control and to really come back home to ourselves, and it's a process and it's not easy, but it's so worth it. And I just really encourage anyone that is in the struggle or in the fight right now to take a step back from the food and take a step back from the body and ask yourself kind of what can I focus on in my life that's going to make me happy. And I've spoken about this before, but primary foods are not the foods on our plate, it's our soul nourishment. So ladies, what nourishes your soul? What things make you feel good? And when we focus our energies on our relationships and our hobby and our career and the things that really make us happy, there's less need to control the food and our body, or we're not going to be so inclined to need this external factor to make us feel good. But I just want to reiterate again that life is always changing, and of course there are days when our soul feels sad and we're going to want to sit in front of the television with a tub of ice cream, or we're at a birthday party and we're going to eat too much cake. That's why we need to get rid of this kind of need for control, because we're never going to be able to. So once we just connect to our bodies and to really tune in to what she needs, she knows. She really knows. And it's a wonderful journey to be on. And it's definitely a journey because we don't get it right all the time. And there's ups and downs. And in each down, there's always a lesson to be learned and to come back to ourselves and to our bodies. And it's just really important for me to come on here and to talk about this because, again, when we are in the shame and the shadows and the secrets, it makes us feel like there's something wrong with us. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. And when we look in the mirror and we see something that we don't like, and our first thought is to criticize ourselves or try and change ourselves or say to ourselves, I can't eat this today because I need to do this, or I need to work out. Just slow it down. Slow it down. And try and replace that with a loving thought. What can I do for myself today that will make me feel good? What can I acknowledge about myself today that I've done that makes me feel good? One body part that I love about myself. And it's just a constant process of coming back to ourselves and really nurturing that loving relationship with ourselves and with our bodies. And it's an amazing exercise to sit down and think, like, what do I love to do? What connects me to my body in a loving way? Whether that's a nourishing yoga practice, yes, Ash, or a women's circle. For me, first being a participant in moon circles was so incredible because it took me away, it took me out of my monkey mind. For those 3 hours, I wasn't sat thinking about what I'd eaten in the day or comparing myself to what other people look like. I just sat around this circle. Sorry, it's my washing machine. I sat around this circle and I was in awe. And I marveled at every single woman on that roof or around that room or in that circle of what they bring to the world. And it was nothing to do with what they looked like, and it was nothing to do with what their body looked like, but it was who they were at their core. So I really encourage you to do things that take you away from what we look like and our beauty ideals, and to just what nourishes your soul. And Women Connection has been so healing for me. It really was such an incredible part of my healing. And it really was after I left eating disorder therapy and I arrived in Israel. Finding women's circles was so nourishing because as women, we help each other to see our light when we can't see it in ourselves. And the sisterhood really does that. And that's why I encourage you to use this group to speak out about your struggles. And if you need somebody to talk to, then I am here. And this is what I do. And that's why I do what I do, because I'm so passionate about helping women understand their worth beyond a scale, or beyond what they think they're supposed to look like, or how they're supposed to be, or what our meaning of beauty is. Because really, beauty is when we shine from within, and when we find that place of self-acceptance. And that is not what a scale tells us. I've been so many different sizes. When I was in the midst of my eating disorder and I was tiny, I looked in the mirror and saw something else. So it really isn't about the size that we are. It's just about how we feel in our own skin, and finding things in our lives that make us feel good and that build us up and that enrich us in that place makes those other things small and so much more insignificant. And I'm so proud that I can sit in a room with other women and not be feeling my legs or picking myself apart or comparing myself to what they look like, just seeing their essence. And that is what Sisterhood Connection and women's circles and women's retreats really did for me. So I really encourage you to find those things in your life that really feed your soul. And I promise you, it makes the food struggles, the body image struggles a lot easier. And it helps you realize that there's so much of this life that we want to live, and by being stuck in our mind and obsessed with that, we lose so much time. And I lost so much time, but I also am so grateful for this experience. And anyone struggling, I encourage you to kind of see it as a gift, because this is where the start of the journey lies. This is the start of where the freedom lies, to really diving in and understanding who you are, what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what you're passionate about. So I'd love to hear, and Ash, thank you for sharing yours. I'd love to hear, ladies, what nurtures your soul and what your soul nourishment is, and what is your primary foods in your life. Because when we focus on that, the other stuff just gets a lot smaller. So I really, just wanted to come on here this morning and to just encourage you all, and to know that our shadows and those dark parts of ourselves and our struggles aren't anything to be ashamed about. And I am so proud to talk about my eating disorder, because I am who I am because of it. And even though it's something that lies dormant for me, kind of like a volcano, and I'm constantly reminded to come back to myself and to be with myself. And it isn't something for me that will ever fully go away. And I've accepted that, but that's okay. Because again, it's just this constant reminder of coming back to myself and thanking it every time. And for me, something that I still struggle with is being in place. Women's retreats are my medicine, and being with women in the nature is where I feel most myself. But then there's this paradox, because often at women's retreats, there's incredible food and large portions of healthy, really good food. But for me, that is like being an alcoholic in front of bottles of vodka. Like, that is really scary for me, because a trigger that I have that will never fully go away is being in front of big portions where I can just pile my plate up and eat, and then I disconnect from myself. And so that is something that I constantly have to remind myself to be present about. And it's something that I wanted to share, because in case other women feel it too, when you go for big Friday night dinners, or you go to restaurants or places where there's a lot of food, this is something that I'm always going to struggle with, but it's okay. And it isn't a fight anymore. It just reminds me to talk to myself and to be with myself, and it's okay, and it's okay. And just to be present. And so these little things just constantly bring us back to ourselves, back to our moment, and back to our body. And when we have an eating disorder, or we struggle with mental health issues, it's because we want to disconnect from our bodies, or we want to numb, or we want to run away. So really, once we dive in and we connect, that's where the healing begins. So ladies, I just urge you to constantly come back to yourselves, constantly come back to your body. If the breath helps you with that, if it's a nourishing walk, if it's a yoga class, if it's journaling, whatever helps you to really come back home to you, I encourage you to find that and to do it, because our bodies are our homes and they love us. And no matter how many times we get it wrong, or we fuck up, or we don't treat her well, she's still there. She's still got our back, and she's never going to go away. She's the home of our soul. And I just wanted to encourage you to think of her that way as well. And when you wake up in the morning and you open your eyes, just being grateful that your eyes have opened, or being grateful for your legs that help you walk to go get your coffee, or your arms that help you lift your groceries. Just constantly coming back to the body and thanking her for the things that she does do for us. And fuck those fucking thoughts that you're not worthy because you don't look like an Instagram model, or you don't look like you did when you were 21. You know, like, you are worthy and you are enough as you are right now. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And beauty is when we are just at one with ourselves, and we have that self-acceptance, and we honor and we see and we acknowledge our flaws and our shadows, and that we're perfectly imperfect fucking beings. So, ladies, I want you to have a great day today, to honor your body, to honor yourself, to honor your journey, to honor your struggles. And if triggers come up today, if food is hard today, if you have negative thoughts about your body, or you have those thoughts that are telling you that you need to do this and you need to do that, see them, hear them, feel them, breathe. Don't add any more layers to feel bad about yourself. Just acknowledge that they're there, and just to try and slow it down and replace that with one loving thought, even if it's just, I got you, or I can do this, or today's going to be a great day, or everything's okay. Body, I see you. I love you. So ladies, thank you for watching, and please, please, please feel free to share what your favorite soul nourishment activities are. And also, if you do want an ear, or you want to be able to share, or you feel like you haven't got a safe place to turn, I know that feeling. I really know that feeling of not feeling that you can talk about this to anyone, or feeling a bit weird or scared or ashamed. So please don't hesitate to message me. That is why I am here. That's why I do what I do. And that's why I am a self-love coach, because I am passionate about helping you understand your worth now. And for many years, I struggled without knowing that I had a safe place to talk to about this. So it's important that you know that you do have a safe space, and that the Goddess Temple really is a safe space. And soon I'm going to launch some group workshops to create a safe space for that. So watch this space. And in 2 weeks, we have another moon circle. And so much healing happens when women come together. So I would love to see you all there as well. Have a wonderful day. And don't forget to tune in to the rest of our videos this week for our Empowered Live sessions. You're amazing.